Did your laptop just die?
No.
Oh, okay. Did you record?
It stopped recording
When?
at the start. No, it says it's recording. Hang on. My face currently feels like I've been run through by Tom Stewart.
Puts it to the top of the square. Oh, beautiful little fist in there by Dale. Crucial centimetre moments.
He definitely has a bit of the Belcho spirit. As I have a bit of the Belcho spirit.
Hello everyone and welcome back for the penultimate round of 2024 to the podcast that is personally responsible for the removal of Kevin Sheedy and Adrian Dodoro from the Essendon Football Club, which is wonderful news for rational Essendon fans and horrible news for lovers of comedy and Essendon haters. And I am joined, as always, by lover of comedy and Essendon hater, Alistair.
You have no proof?
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm alright.
Are you getting a farewell game this weekend?
No.
No, okay.
I'm playing on next year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not letting the cash cow go.
I'm keeping going until they sack me, baby.
I'm Rory Sloaning it.
I'm gonna Mitch Robinson this shit.
Both had a different example.
Rory Sloan's a far better...
Yeah, it's a good one. He had no eye, and he was still on the list.
Yeah, he's like, I can't see, but I'll play. Anyway, if you tuned in before, you know how this section works. And if you haven't, this is what we do. Each week, if you're tuning in now, it's a crazy time of year to jump on. But
Stupid.
each week, we give 5 through to 1 votes for the best defenders of the week based on defensive or intercept efforts, spoils, contested one-on-ones. Intercepts usually better than disposals. For a maximum of 10 votes each round. To quickly run through the leaderboard before we start the votes.
Okay.
We've got Collins on 34, Wiedering on 30, McGovern on 25, Andrews and Guthrie on 23, and Pearce and Lever on 22.
All right, well, I don't know what my votes do to that, but let's have fun.
Mine do something to it, so
All
let's
right.
find out. Who is your one vote?
My one vote, surprise vote, no one would have picked me picking him this week. Callum Mills is my one vote.
Callum Mills is my 2 votes.
Wow, we both went there. That's crazy. I thought he was really good down back, and they should keep him there.
I thought he was really good.
Well, you do the stats, because I haven't written any down.
They should keep him there. Because I put him down back for the last quarter of the week before as well, and it was the best he'd looked since coming back. He had 26 disposals at 88.5, 10 of those were intercepts and 9 contested. He had 8 marks, 2 of which were intercepts. He got a spoil as well, 6 rebound 50s, 315 metres gained, 5 score involvements and 2 launches. He was very, very good.
That, combined with Matt Roberts playing out of his skin for the past couple of
Yep.
weeks, is going to do wonders for them if that
And
keeps up.
Parker is good again.
Yeah. He's always been an annoying 2-ish goal as a forward player, and if they can keep that rolling and eventually get Papley back, big thumbs up.
Yeah, okay, well,
Your one vote
no
then.
surprise. My one vote was to Jacob Wiedering.
Okay. I have
who-
my votes are all over the place, but I have Jacob Wiedering at 4.
Right. I know, obviously I don't have to explain it to you because you've given him 4 votes. I was going to say, I know that game obviously was a massive win, but he monstered
Yep.
Waterman.
No, Monstered Allen.
Monstered Allen, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
And also got a lot of it himself.
He
well, not all of it,
was-
but 15 disposals, 12 of which were intercepts. So
Yep.
only 3 that weren't intercepts, game high 12. 7 of them were contested, 6 marks, 5 intercepts, 4 spoils.
I think 5 intercept marks were second or third for the round as well, so it's...
4 score involvements and 2 launches.
Yeah. He was playing with a confidence that I haven't seen him play with for weeks and weeks.
Finally, Brody Kemp's nowhere fucking near me.
It did feel a bit like that. He was... And, I mean, with Young in the team as well, so he was leading out, coming off his man, marking, impacting contests. It was really big. And obviously, I know it was West Coast, but in a forward line that has Allen, Darling and Waterman...
I also thought Young was serviceable.
Yeah, Young was good too. But yeah, that's why you ended up with 4 for me, because I couldn't put... No, he's 3 for me.
3?
I'm on the wrong way
I'll
around.
move him back.
Yeah, sorry.
Then who is your 2?
My 2 is to Nick Floston.
Flostone didn't get a vote for me.
But
I
I thought he was really good.
also thought he was really good.
Well, it sucks because we got no votes for you, Floston, but you're one of 6 premiership Tigers still around, so good on ya.
And is the youngest of them, which I was...
Yeah, well, I remember when he had a beard.
Yeah.
Why
And
doesn't he have the beard anymore?
He had a beard and he was bald, so I assumed he was older than he was, and now he's got hair and no beard. It's very confusing for me.
Yeah, but I've always liked Floston.
You got no stats for Flostone?
God, no.
He was quite good. He was in my special mentions. He's like 4th down, I think. My 2 votes was to Callum Mills. Who was my 3 votes now?
Yes.
You've already done yours.
Yes.
My 3 votes was to Sam Taylor.
Okay, Sam Taylor's my 5.
You're 5. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sam Taylor had 12 disposals at 83%. 8 intercepts, game high. 6 contested, 5 marks. 3 intercepts, 2 contested.
Keep going.
13 spoils.
There it is.
Which is the round high.
Yeah.
He had
I like spoils
3
more than
rebound
marks.
50s. He had all 4 of his one-on-ones.
Yep.
And my favourite for a defender's stat, he had 5 metres gained.
Yeah.
3 score involvements, 2 score launches. Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
So it's your 4.
My 4's Callum Wilkie.
Your 5?
My 4 is Callum Wilkie.
Really? Oh, so Sam Taylor's your 5?
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Mine, like I said, mine are a bit out of the place, but I love those spoils. Callum Wilkie did destroy Geelong.
Callum Wilkie destroyed Geelong.
Yes.
Probably because he had Ollie Henry on him.
Yes. That's why he dropped down.
But he had 28 disposals at 89.3, 13 of which were intercepts, which was the round high, 7 of which were contested. He had 15 marks, which is enormous, but unlike a Luke Ryan, 15 marks, 8 of those were intercept marks, which was again a round high, 3 contested, 2 spoils, 3 tackles, 8 rebound 50s, which was a game high, had 1 one-on-one, but it was against Henry, so he won it. Had 426 metres gained, 6 score involvements and 4 score launches.
Yeah, he was huge.
He must have been stoked when he saw Rowan get subbed off and not Henry in that last quarter.
I think he's licking his lips with Brodie Kemp coming up next week.
He was amazing. I think Brodie Kemp's a little bit more of a physical presence than Ollie Henry, frankly.
He can tackle, so
my 4 then, which was the only one that was...
Is that all that's left? This has been so fucked.
It's all out of order.
This is the most scuffed one we've done.
This happened like last year as well, the last couple of rounds. My 4 was to Jeremy Howe.
Yeah, Jeremy Howe's my special mention. That's the Nick Vlosten swap.
In that game, he was so good. Even when the bits I didn't get to see because I was going to and from the footy, I watched it with a Collingwood fan who I was doing footy with at Joondalup. And watching her joy, right? She watched, the credit to her, she at no point was going to put her phone down. But watching her shoulders rise up as that last quarter went on. He had 24 disposals at 87.5. He had 9 intercepts, which was a game high, 3 contested. He had 11 marks, 6 of those were intercepts. 3 spoils, 5 rebound 50s, and 2 score involvements, one of which was a launch. I don't think they win the game without him. They also probably don't win the game if Berry doesn't go off.
Yeah. Jeremy Howe's been really good this year.
He has, yeah.
I think we've
he
underrated him a little. Yeah, I think we've underrated him a little.
But yeah, he has been. I think, but especially the second half of the year, injury years do that to you, right?
Yeah.
He's been impressive.
And what is he, 34, 35? He's killing it.
Put him in the fading star 22.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best ones.
Well, I saw him do a 22 over 32, and there's only 33 players, so it was a pretty easy team to make.
Who missed?
I can't remember.
That's one we'll look up later.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure you have my votes in order. Callum Mills was 1, Nick Vlosten was 2, Jacob Wiedering was 3, Callum Wilkie was 4, Sam Taylor was 5.
I do somehow have them in order, yes.
Okay, cool.
My
big honourable mention for the week is Lawson Humphries. His first half was insane.
Unfortunately, he disappeared.
That's why he didn't get a vote.
Wilkie jumps into, I think, probably the top 10, but not high enough.
Yeah.
Mostly due to the fact that his first half of the year was ruined by his team's football, not his own. Wiedering gets a little bit closer. Will be equal with Sam Collins going
big
into the
last round. And Collins wasn't their team got pumped, but he wasn't bad this weekend.
He's in my special mentions.
Yeah.
My first special mention was Lewis Melican, who I thought was...
Charlie Ballard was all right too, despite the pumping.
He's in there too. Lewis Melican, thought his second half especially was really good. Darcy Moore, Mark Keane, Jeremy McGovern again.
Yeah.
Who unfortunately they're missing now this week. I thought Lockie Cowan was really good. Brennan Cox.
Yeah, weirdly good.
Lawson Humphries, as you mentioned. Jack Henry, Blake Howes, and Charlie Ballard.
You named a lot of players.
First time we've mentioned Blake Howes since I reckon about week 3.
Yeah. Well, he got dropped for a little bit.
But yeah, he was good. So.
We cared about him more when he was in our fantasy team, Jack.
That's
or
true.
At least he was in mine. I don't remember if he was in yours.
I think he was in mine. Quick thoughts on the weekend games.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Let me get up my Sportsbet sponsored AFL app.
Yeah, see how the scoreworm's going.
It's quicker. All right, go. Shoot from the hip.
So we had Essendon defeated by Sydney.
So I just want to go out on a limb and say that Essendon are a better side with Dyson Heppel in it than Jake Kelly.
Yep.
And to...
Credit to Zay for saying that weeks ago.
Jared Waitley and Jordan Lewis and Damien Barrett or whoever is going on and on about how they should have put the team first and not the player.
Playing Heppel puts the team first.
Exactly.
I've said it to a bunch of Essendon fans this week that Kelly or Menzies, frankly,
it's
like you could have had Heppel as the sub. It would have been fine.
Heppel as the sub, or even if they can't don't want him down back, play him as a half forward. Get him a goal in his
That's a lot of people being
final
like, well,
home game.
you know, hindsight's easy. So it's like, no, because I was
Nick
saying this.
hindsight.
I was saying this before the game, so it's not hindsight.
It's
it was
not.
a bad call.
They weren't beating Sydney at Marvel. Let's be real.
They definitely weren't beating Brisbane this week either. After it, so
And he's playing this week.
yeah,
He's in the team.
getting a farewell game at the Gabba.
At the Gabba, which I think is ridiculous. And I know this is quick thoughts, but I just wanted to shout out to all the Essendon fans that Brad Scott made a bad choice there.
I agree with
and
people who
Dyson
are-
Heppel should have got a farewell game at home.
I agree with the people who are annoyed about it.
Yep.
The fans deserve to see him off because he has. We said it last week when he announced his retirement. Stuck thick through some awful times.
You don't stay on as the captain after a big drug saga and pull your club out of that and not get a
proper
reward.
farewell game. GWS West beat Fremantle in another close loss for Freo. I think it's their. They've only won one of their 6 games by less than 2 goals this year.
I got it. I'm trying to. I clicked on the GWS Freo game and I've got a Candy Crush Saga ad. GWS are on a roll.
Yes,
They're doing
they
exactly
are.
what they did at the end of last year.
So last year they won 7 in a row.
Yep.
This year they've won 7 in a row.
Yep.
That is an equal club record. They've never done it outside of the last 2 years.
That's crazy. Kingsley's got the sauce.
Just waiting for a free smoke wherever you want it from Tom Green. It's about that vibe
it's a
again.
great video.
If they win this week at Mars, he can pull it out again.
I hope he does.
That's another venue.
But yeah, Fremantle, I think, are the unluckiest team this year at the end of the year because losing Tracy and Darcy in the tightest part of the season, huge.
They were far more competitive against GWS over there without those two than I thought they would be.
Yep. And I mean, they lost to Geelong at Optus and they lost to Essendon.
Their two biggest ones are the Essendon loss and the West Coast loss.
Yeah.
Just a draw against Essendon.
You could probably also argue the Carlton double goal turnaround one.
Just a draw against Essendon. If they held on and didn't kick that point, they're now in contention again. But because they lost it, it made a world of difference. So.
Yeah, that centre clearance is going to haunt them. I think more than the West Coast game. But yeah, these are the longest quick thoughts we've ever done. We're only 2 games in.
Gold Coast, Melbourne.
Jack Viney, gun.
Jack Viney, good.
Yeah,
Gold Coast,
signed on.
Embarrassing.
That
was their biggest loss of the year.
Was it?
And it was at home.
For Gold Coast, that's pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Good job, Gold Coast.
They have a bigger win this year than their biggest loss, so that's nice.
I wonder if that's happened before.
Maybe. I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Collingwood beat Brisbane by a point.
Yeah, Brisbane are faltering at the wrong time.
MCG again. We've seen them choke.
I don't know if it's the MCG. I think it was just Nick Dacos.
Yeah, well, his second half wasn't
Can he get
fantastic.
6 votes for that
His
game?
second quarter, though, was... We have 22 in the second quarter? Incredible. Shows how important Jared Berry is, frankly.
Huge. They need to make sure he's fit for finals.
Yes. Port Adelaide beat Adelaide in a dramatic showdown.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit. Should we do that after?
Do that after. I've got some thoughts on it later too. I've got 2 separate parts that I want to talk about that. But anyway, Port really put the foot down, but it did feel like Adelaide were a bit distracted and shook in the second half.
Butters at his crazy bastard best.
He's very good.
Yeah.
It's funny, I hear people talk about him outside of football, and apparently he's like
very
gentle
demure.
and like very demure, very cutesy. But apparently he's like calm and kind and like soft spoken. I'm like, you watch him play football and you're like, he looks like the biggest prick. And I know that's just what some people are like on and off field. But he surprises me.
Yeah, he's nuts.
With that. St Kilda ran over Geelong. It was like that GWS game earlier in the year, except they won.
It's honestly like that half of football.
Scintillating. I heard
It was some of the best I've watched all year. I was sitting here on the couch with my mouth like a gape.
I eventually watched.
I wouldn't have.
Later to watch it and give Cal Wilkie votes, I guess. But their kicks inside 50 were insane.
Yeah.
I don't think you could stop those kicks. Sinclair and Steele were on fire. Yeah.
And then we get into...
yeah,
I guess we're doing thrashings now.
Bulldogs beat North by 1,000,000. They didn't win by 100. Which
96 points.
But they won. Hawthorn beat Richmond by roughly what they're in front by at quarter time. And West Coast, from the moment Dwayne said...
They've got them on the ropes here.
They've got them over a barrel.
Over a barrel, sorry.
I think West Coast kicked 2 goals for the rest of the game.
They did.
And Carlton kicked 12. So that wasn't a great... No, more than that, 15. Wasn't a great goal from Dwayne. It was impressive from Carlton. there would have been a lot of mental pressure coming over to Perth, missing a lot of your senior players, not just important players. I saw them put out the 17, and like if you just add one player to it, it's a really handy starting 18. That's missing. So like that's a really big game to win, and keeps the season alive in the most dramatic of fashions.
What I hope that Carlton/Michael Voss learned from that game is that if you pick 23 fit players and you have them play Michael Voss's game style, you can win games.
Which was the frustration the week before, watching Curnow get picked and being like, there's no need to do this.
Yeah.
And this is why I was talking to someone else about it, I think, when I was at work on the weekend. Did they not learn from Walsh?
I think maybe it's an Andrew Russell thing. Maybe they need someone to just go, he can't play this week. There's no way.
Yeah, because I feel like the Walsh thing was the same. Like, he obviously was why he took so long to get into this season, was that he ruined himself.
Yeah, he did win a medal for it.
He won the medal, but he ruined his body.
I mean, if you had a chance to make the grand final, you'd do it, right?
Yeah, very different. But like in season, you don't want to be.
No. But yeah, it's hopefully they have a medical officer that actually can stamp some authority.
And look, Russell brought Curnow back from the brink, so
and Cripps as well.
Yeah,
so
like credit to him.
Whilst there are definitely many issues, those two you get a big tick on.
Moving on.
Yeah, I don't know what we usually do on
Well, I
this
did
podcast.
pops and flops this week.
Oh, I didn't.
That's fine. My pops were, I wrote Brody, quote-unquote, Fev Kemp. Contested marks, goals from anywhere.
Tackles inside 50.
Awesome. Dacos was second quarter.
Yeah.
St Kilda's run and gun. And I put this in the pops because I feel like 5 weeks into the year, they were like 2 and 3. But we were talking about how fast they looked off half-back.
And they shouldn't have lost that game to Essendon as well.
And then it just vanished. Like against Geelong, Collingwood and Essendon, they looked quick.
Hopefully they lose it again this week.
And then they suddenly went, none of that. Let's slow up this ball movement. Their record with and without King is really interesting.
Yeah.
Too. And I'm a King believer, but they've got a far better record without him this year than with him.
You're a big Ben
And
King guy.
have beaten good teams. My flops were West Coast.
Yeah.
Dan Houston.
Yeah, not good.
Fremantle, not this week, but just dropping from 2nd to 9th.
Why is your flop
in
not
the space of 6 weeks?
Matt Crouch assaulting a man in the crowd?
No, I'll come back to that.
Okay.
It's very funny.
Let's get into that now
let's
then.
jump into the showdown.
This is
stuff.
probably the most excited I have been to talk about.
Hatgate. Let's go.
It's not just Hatgate, man.
Yeah, so we'll start with Hatgate.
So I'm just going to run off dot points about
that showdown.
This showdown.
How good are showdowns as a non?
It's the best rivalry.
As a non-showdown supporter.
It's the best rivalry.
Person.
Fuck off all those Melbourne Big Four rivalries.
The derby's fine. The showdown
Geelong Hawthorn can fuck off. It's the
the showdown.
So, starting off with the teeth sledge. That's really
very
funny. The concussion is insane.
Mental. So un-Houston-like.
With the fact that Houston may have played his last game for Port Adelaide, which is the big part
Ending
of it.
right now, isn't it? I think that's the...
The booing and clapping discourse. Matthew Nix very clearly telling Ken Hinkley that it was a dog act. What else have I got written
Especially
down?
because they're like best mates.
A 10-year-old kid punching the mascot
in the face
and breaking their nose. Not as funny as the racial abuse, but obviously that's part of the saga. And then there's Hatgate. Which I'll let you go on
So
about. This is from one game.
We have to take into perspective as well that this is a showdown, right? So it's not a normal game where you're seated near the fence and conveniently you're seated near the opposition's
You're
race.
standing on the mound or whatever BT calls it.
Yeah, the anthill. This is a showdown. So you had to wait for the speeches, the awards, the ceremony, all of that to stand right at the Adelaide gate to abuse the players as they're coming off because you're a Port fan and you think that's your God-given right. And then Matt Crouch, funnily, just because you are a dickhead, knocks your hat off. And you stand there holding your arms out, incredulously looking at the Adelaide coaches like, can you believe what he did? And then you file an assault charge with the police? If I was this man's friend, he would never hear the end of it. It would be...
Can I confirm it was him that lodged the suit or was it someone else in there?
I believe it was him.
Okay. I might double check that, but...
My God.
It's outrageous.
It's so
so silly. And now the media are chasing Matt Crouch around asking for his opinion on it. He said, look at the vision.
There isn't any cuts for it's cuts there. Very funny. Also, like if that's obviously Crouch can't do any more than that, but the guy probably deserved an actual crack in the face for being an absolute dickhead. I thought, agree with you, the Richelli banter was funny. I'm a big Richelli guy.
There's one more dot point.
Oh, there's one more dot point.
Koshi came out
my
and called
God.
it classist. The richest fucking guy in the
Also,
entire state.
And then the next day said that young people should stop complaining about the housing market. That's classist, Koshi.
You can't do both of those
Also,
things.
hang on, Koshi, you can't complain about that. You said you don't want woke in football.
He's so fucking stupid, man. But to come out and say that it's classist...
The problem with me is, right, I'm always port side of Prison Bar Gate.
Yeah.
But if I was going to take a side in Maguire versus Kosh, I'm picking Maguire every time.
It's an unfortunate evil you have to side with, right?
Because at least Maguire doesn't have any problem with quote-unquote woke. Anyway, Richelli banter was funny. I'm a big Richelli guy. I've been saying Richelli footy on the telly since his debut.
There's more.
And then the Crows have hung him out to dry.
That's it.
Again. So he got taken aside about his comments and his celebration.
Someone came out in the media and gave him a spray too.
Laird did it, and now he's been dropped.
So that's another dot point.
So one, he has to be close to looking for a trade if they're not careful, because he is an incredibly talented.
I'll take him.
He's an incredibly talented footballer, mid forward. Frankly, you can play him 50-50 and he would be good. And has Adelaide not watched 2022 Collingwood or 2024 Hawthorn? The swagger and fun in your young players carries you.
With Rankin and Richelli up forward, you should be embracing
it, not shutting Richelli down every time it happens. It's the second time this year.
Yeah.
They've he went out and did it. They obviously forced him to go.
There is
about
obviously
it the first time, but
there is the slight scent of squib with Richelli.
Yes.
Some of the shirking of contests, especially. But fucking ball,
let
man.
him have fun.
Just ball.
It's anyway.
I think they should always allow fun.
Yes. Anyway, what a showdown. They never disappoint.
Yeah, when was the last time a rivalry gave us stuff like that?
No, nothing does.
Nothing. Not even classic Western Bulldogs GWS final shit gave us that. Nothing recently.
No.
Oh, Collingwood kicked a goal after the siren against a rival. Boo-hoo.
Shame on anyone who booed a champion.
Come on, man. Nothing's even close.
No, I agree.
I feel like if West Coast and Fremantle had been able to keep themselves level...
They were going at it again this year.
Yeah, but if you think back to the Ballantine days, if those had been neck and neck close games every time, that would have held up.
The problem with Free on West Coast has always been that when one of them's good, the other one's never as good.
Yeah.
West Coast shit recently, but West Coast were usually just
that one year in 2015 where they were both high up the ladder.
Yeah, well, they finished first and second, didn't they?
Yeah, I think so.
That was the year West Coast made the grand final and lost.
Yeah. Hawthorn.
Yeah, after beating Freo the year before.
Yep.
I've got a big footy ones this week for you.
Oh, sweet.
Three of them.
This is my favourite game that we play.
So which big footy board was this from? The first one. Mentally weak, no effort, can't kick a winning score. That's us done. Another season down the drain. Woo. No exclamation marks. Woo.
So, I want to say Gold Coast, but they don't have fans.
Not Gold Coast.
So it's Essendon.
It's Brisbane.
Oh. Yeah, they
Very
can't kick a
unhappy
winning
about that
score. Yeah.
Oh
my God, look at the score worm.
This one's... back in time. That was one that I sent you...
You literally make a $sign somehow.
That's the one where I sent you the screenshot from the AFL website where the score had gone different points, that it had gone both ways.
It's very strange. They can't figure out the score worm.
So this one is about from what team's board, but also if you can guess what player.
Oh.
It's been happening a long time, but he escapes criticism and flies under the radar. Has been a completely erratic and inconsistent player for 2 years.
2 years. And that's the whole bit that I get.
Yeah.
I have 22 players from 18 fucking
teams.
This
is from a team that lost and is melting about it.
Erratic. And they're melting? Nat Fife?
Jeremy Cameron.
Oh, yeah. No, that is true, though.
And they're not wrong.
It's true.
You know my thoughts on Jeremy Cameron. We don't talk about him on here much because it's mostly a Defender podcast. But Jeremy Cameron has a license to play differently to everyone else at Geelong, who are one of the most well-drilled clubs in the comp.
I'm worried that Bailey Smith will get that same license, and then you start to devolve that whole system. I'm a little concerned about that with Geelong, to be honest. But yes, I don't know how he hasn't been pulled in.
Me neither. It's incredible.
It's really strange.
And then the final one, I've done 3 this week. The final one is a very simple one-liner.
I haven't got any of them right, so...
Very simple one-liner. Most disappointing season in 15 years.
In 15 years?
15 years. If I was this person, I would personally think that last season was more disappointing, but most disappointing season in 15 years.
Have Gold Coast been around for 15 years?
Not yet.
Adelaide?
Fremantle.
It will be if they don't make finals.
They don't make finals. I still think last year was more disappointing. Last year they were they finished 6th the year before.
AFL 2023, Fremantle finished 14th.
Yeah, so the year before. Yeah, so 14th last year.
They were only 2 games out of the 8. 2022 they were 5th.
Yeah, so that's a hugely disappointing.
To go from 5th to 14th to 9th or 10th, it's not great for Justin Longmuir.
No, it's not.
But at their best, they're a good side.
They are a very good side at their best, including most of the game on the weekend. Oh, Jesus, I did have another one. I got a 4th one.
It's the Big Footy Hour.
At 3/4 time, we needed a real, strong coach to step up and inspire the players to win it. Too bad we haven't got one.
3/4 time.
3/4 time.
I want to say this one's Essendon.
It's Adelaide. So this ought to be believable for like a certain type of Geelong fan. And also Essendon. But no, Adelaide.
I knew it wasn't Geelong because they actually have a good coach.
But the fans often don't think that.
Well, Richmond fans think that Adam Uze is not a real coach.
Yeah, and what's he supposed to be doing about it? There's no stability. Like, your CEO has already announced he's leaving.
Your best
all of
player
your players are injured.
Is gone. Potentially of all time.
Yeah, the best player that club has ever had has retired.
You're going to lose at least
one
3.
One of the best key forwards of the modern era, especially big game key forwards,
and their number 1 defender for years is gone. Tom Lynch should probably retire, let's be honest. But yeah...
it's a mess.
I stuffed up that round of Big Footy. I'm pretty disappointed in myself.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're almost so good at that.
I usually am really, really good.
There were so many teams melting this week because it's so close to the end of the year, though. I think that was part of the problem.
Yeah. You could have blanketed...
Yeah. Anyone in the top 10, 12, except for Gold Coast. Cooter's running for Mayor of Melbourne.
Cooter.
He's getting
Everyone who votes for him gets a fucking euro.
Souvlaki hut. What's that, monkey? He's going to get the people back in the office, which is something the mayor has zero control over, but that's what he reckons. And he said on radio the other day, he said he's going to fix crime. People call him all the time. They're like, Cooter, I go to the city and I'm scared. Cooter grew up in like 90s Melbourne, which was significantly rougher than it is now.
I like the idea that the biggest problem is, people aren't going to the office, so big businesses are losing money on their buildings. Like, fuck off, who cares?
And there's too much crime. Cooter's going to fix crime and get people back in the office. I don't think the Lord Mayor has...
He's going to upgrade the office pizza day to the office souvlaki day.
Oh, that would get me in, actually. I'll be honest with you.
Well, is Cooter going to be there? Because that might get me into the office.
Will the guy in the Cadbury monkey suit be there?
I think it was a CGI monkey. It's not... It's not the one from the Cadbury ad. There's more than one gorilla, first of all. And there are also fake gorillas.
Oh, shit. No. Anyway. Football.
Yeah, what else happened this week?
Who misses out? Fremantle, Carlton, Bulldogs, or Hawthorn?
If I'm being honest, I think it's Carlton.
I think it's Fremantle. I don't think they beat Port without Tracy or Darcy.
They're missing their number 1 score involvement player, Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide are, but Freo are missing 2 of their most important scorers.
It's going to be interesting. It is at Fremantle's home game. Everything to play for.
It's so interesting that, like,
potentially,
the 2 other games that day impact how much those 2 teams care. Because if GWS win, they can both play finals.
Yeah.
If the Bulldogs win, nothing changes for Port. They're stuck in second, so they don't care. And then Freo would care. But then if Carlton also win, it becomes a complete dead rubber.
Yeah. There's some permutations to go, but I think, on likelihood, I think Carlton can easily drop St Kilda, and then Fremantle will put their whole fussy into it.
With the injuries they've got, and the best we've seen from St Kilda this year, which has been good. Their worst has been bad. But St Kilda's best against an injury-ridden Carlton, I wouldn't be surprised if they won, especially at Marvel. And then, like, Freo against a Houston-less Port, I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Yeah, especially how close their games
have been. But I also wouldn't be
lately.
surprised if GWS won at Mars. Which would be fascinating to see the Bulldogs, who are, for a lot of people, like, who look at the numbers, the best team in the comp.
Problem is their percentage is too good, so just genuinely, unless
Freo
all
have
three
a draw.
teams below
Freo have a
them.
draw.
No, I just meant all three
Oh,
teams
yeah,
below
yeah.
them need to win for them to drop out.
Yes,
I
correct.
think Bulldogs and GWS are in the kind of form where I don't think it matters where they finish.
No.
They can continue all the
I
way
mean, the
through.
Bulldogs, both times they've made grand finals.
They never
this
finished top
decade,
four.
or this century, have been from outside.
It's been the biggest legitimate criticism against Bevo is that team
You
does
can't
not finish top four.
Um,
Which, I mean, they can do if West Coast beat Geelong.
that is true. They can, which they haven't done since Howard was Prime Minister in Geelong. It's been a while. GWS are the only team in the AFL who have not lost by 5 goals this year.
That's crazy.
Speaking of GWS, every team's loss has been bigger than that. Every team also has a much more unexplainable loss this year than GWS do. Like Sydney getting belted by Port or losing to Richmond. Geelong against St Kilda on the weekend goes up there now too. But the Gold Coast game being as bad as it was, Carlton to Adelaide at that time was pretty unexplained. Like every other team in the top, I'd even say 10, has a loss where you're like, how the fuck did you lose that? Except for GWS. Like you go, oh, they lost to Sydney twice and the Bulldogs.
Brisbane lost their first 3 home games.
Yeah, right? And so everyone else has ones where you go, how did this happen? Whereas GWS's losses are all on paper pretty normal. I remember someone being like, oh, well, they should have lost to Adelaide, more of Adelaide kick straight. It's like, yeah, but good Adelaide this year is good, especially at home. Bulldogs are second with a biggest loss of 48. Brisbane lost by 54, so did Gold Coast on the weekend. Geelong lost by 64 to Gold Coast. Adelaide and Collingwood both lost by 66 and both to Hawthorn. Fremantle lost by 67 to the Bulldogs. Essendon lost by 69 to Port early in the year. Carlton, obviously on the weekend, to Hawthorn lost by 74. Port lost by 76. Somehow when I wrote this down, I wrote 97 for both of these teams, even though it was 76. Port and Hawthorn both lost by 96. Hawthorn to Sydney, Port to Brisbane. St Kilda lost by 85 to Brisbane.
Yeah.
That was a mess. That was the Marvel one, I think.
Sydney's isn't the biggest loss of the year.
Sydney's is the second biggest loss of the year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Melbourne's was 92 against Freo in Alice Springs.
Yeah.
North lost by 96 on the weekend. West Coast lost by 99 to Adelaide early in the year. And everyone thought that'd be a close game, and
it was not.
Horrible. Sydney 112 to Port, and then Richmond lost by 119 to Brisbane.
Yeah. So it's really strange that
Gold Coast are one of the only 4 teams without a 10-goal loss this year.
Weird, but it's very strange that so many of those pumpings are by Hawthorn.
Yeah.
And Sydney, who are, let's be real, they should be the flag favourite, are
3 by Port, 3 by Hawthorn.
Yeah. The second biggest loss of the year. Which, to be fair, some premiers have that happen to them. And by lowly teams, but this was by Port. That was such a weird game.
It was a weird game. But it wasn't necessarily the loss. So it was like Hawthorn's...
It was just the half of footy where they couldn't
first quarter
score.
This year was the biggest first quarter of the year. But it was the fact that they didn't score was what made it so alarming. Like, it was 71-0 at one point.
And it's not like Port have an insane ruckman or anything. They've got a good midfield, but Sydney has a good one too.
Yeah, very, very strange. Viney is locked in after that game.
I mentioned
almost
that
like
earlier.
the trade speculation was all hot air. Also, maybe his is it his granddad or his dad that is the North Melbourne CEO that might have been helping inflate his.
I don't think so. I think Clarko genuinely went on radio and just said, "I would like this player, this player, this player."
It was never actually a rumor. It was just like most of them, built out of hot air. Did you see Matthew Lloyd on the radio the other day being like, Petrarca needs to come out and put an end to these rumours? It's like, my brother in Christ, you created the rumours. You're talking to Sam McClure about it. It's you. You're the rumour.
It's so funny how much
The players aren't responsible for putting an end to the rumours.
Yeah.
They didn't fucking start them.
But, Melbourne have done all the right things this week to come out against
Put
it.
away Gordon Viney, smart. Their young players are signed on for a couple more years.
Yeah.
Petrarca's signed on for 5 more years, and Gary Pert even came out and said he's playing for us.
Contracted, bro.
It's very stupid.
Yeah, they're very dumb.
Next week, game of the week.
Huh? There's games next week?
Well, there are.
Well, okay, let's be real. The game of the week should be GWS Bulldogs.
Or Fremantle Port. But in terms of quality, GWS Bulldogs.
It should be.
I'm also very interested in Melbourne Collingwood. But I think
I was going to say the same thing. A lot of that Saturday is...
Although they're not... Dan McStay has been such a big part of why they've looked better for the last 5 weeks. And he's out.
Yep.
Which is smart. I wouldn't be risking him
Frampton's
either.
out too, though, so...
If my season...
negative.
It's true. Balances out. If my season was over, I'm not playing my injury-prone tour.
No.
Tell that to Melbourne. Who did they name May in the end? They said they were going to.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm going to check. It should be, realistically, one of those 3 Sunday games, right? Saturday looks kind of
No,
good.
it's just Bailey Laurie who's in
Good,
for
okay.
Sparrow. Saturday looks dog shit. Don't
So good
bother
thing we're
turning on the
busy.
footy.
No, we're busy Saturday night.
About busy Saturday night.
I'm going out for brunch with my mum in the morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Might go see a movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is there that you haven't seen yet?
I
Alien
still haven't
Romulus.
seen Borderlands,
true.
but I may not see that.
You haven't seen Romulus. You've been catching up on the aliens.
Yeah, maybe I'll go see that domestic abuse movie.
Oh, yeah, It Ends With Us, where
Yeah.
they've been like advertising it as a cutesy rom-com. Very cutesy.
Why are we talking about this on the podcast?
I don't know.
Apparently Blake Lively, is that who it is?
Yeah.
Had a argument with the creator. The creator got kicked off because she wanted it to be friendly and he wanted it to go further into the
Like
domestic
the
abuse
book.
side.
Like the book is.
So I think that's crazy.
Also that everyone in it is meant to be like in their late 20s.
Blake Lively.
And
is
they've
like
cast a bunch of 40-year-olds.
Yeah.
Also, like, her name is like Petal Rose and she runs a flower shop. Like, it's like
better
the
than
most
Gypsy
written
Rose.
by AI names
No, it's a name, I can say
all
it.
time. Very funny.
This is a football podcast.
Yeah, but sometimes there's...
I mean, if there was a football movie on, I'd go
like
see
we
it.
said last week, they don't make football movies, and they should make a Specky McGee movie. Or 7. I don't care. I'll watch one.
Who are you casting?
I can't wait. Like, because you... Who am I casting?
I would hate
Specky
it
McGee.
because the fucking Auntie Donna boys would be in that movie. There's no way they wouldn't be in that
You
fucking
can guarantee
movie.
that... Well, I mean, just Broden.
At
The
least.
rest of them don't like football.
They'd still be in it.
You could definitely have, like... They would definitely put, like, Broden as Specky's dad or something.
How many media... Like,
I remember way too much about
ex-players-
Specky McGee, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it's all, like, in my head. Like,
I read
I know he
one.
was adopted. I know that his blood dad was a Geelong supporter who spoke on the phone in movie cinemas.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Yeah, he was a fucker. But he actually didn't support Geelong. It was just like he gave Specky a Geelong jump when he was a kid. His dad didn't like football.
Oh,
But,
okay.
you know, even his adoptive family didn't like football. There was Tiger Girl. Do you remember that?
No.
You didn't read those books?
Did any of them have like a chomp out of it? That's familiar to me for some reason.
I don't think that was Specky McGee, no.
Maybe
he stole
not.
the boots of glory. He got caught.
How many AFL players who are currently doing media do you think would rock up for a role in like a Specky McGee style
a
movie?
few.
I reckon Nick Rewalt's absolutely cameoing.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's number one on the
What
list.
I was thinking about it was like, you'd have to modern it, right? So you'd have to make the players that are referenced in it current players.
Yeah.
And that would be fun.
Swapping them
Yeah.
out. Yeah, okay, that would be fun. But
So like when he meets Chris Judd, is he meeting Bontempelli?
probably Nat Fife.
Well, he's in Melbourne.
Nat Fife plays in Melbourne sometimes.
That's true. It's true.
Chris Judd
Also,
was
Specky
in
McGee's a
WA.
fucking coward. You can't support 6 teams.
Yeah, I can't feasibly.
You can't
I
support
can't
six
even
teams.
support one. So
It's like that motherfucker. What happens when they play each other? What if he gets a weekend where it's just 3 games of the teams he follows playing each other?
flip a coin. Use a 50-50 each time.
Coward. I think that's all the things.
Okay, we've talked about Specky McGee more
That's
on
2
these
weeks
two
in a row.
podcasts than we have for the last 15 years.
That was weird. My bad.
Te-
We are recording.
Technical issues.
Technical issues. The podcast started recording after like 15 minutes of blank space, so it looked like it wasn't there, and I panicked.
Well, you're going to have to put a very long intro on this
A
week.
very long intro. I've got a long intro, but it's not that long.
How many times, it's like that fucking Zach Tucker guy or whatever, how many times do you play the Family Guy theme over and over until it stops being funny?
Anyway, thanks for listening. We just had a brief moment of like wanting to kill ourselves.
Oh, yeah, I was done.
This would have been the last episode of the podcast. It wouldn't have come out. Last week would have been the last ever episode. But you'll get a season finale at least. Anyway, thanks as always for listening. The votes will be out on Twitter and maybe Instagram if I can be bothered using Meta's annoying posting service tomorrow with this episode. And then next week, we can post on Saturday even. Who cares? Because there's no football on.
Absolutely.
And
did Gary Lyon fucking write Specky
Gary
McGee?
Lyon was the consultative guy. Yeah, so Felice Arena was the author. Gary Lyon was the person who told him about football.
It literally says the book's written by Felice Arena
and Gary Lyon.
and renowned Aussie rules player. You can't say that anymore.
Well, renowned...
Do you reckon he fucked Specky McGee's mum? Is he in the book?
No, Gary Lyon is not in the book. But hang on, there's like a Gary Lyon pseudo.
Why are we still talking about Specky McGee?
There's a pseudo Gary Lyon in the book, who like he casts someone else. Like he gives himself a different name, and like there's a Rex Hunt who's not Rex Hunt in there. Because Specky has a dream sequence where he travels back in time to the 70s. Thanks to a little painted Weet-Bix football he got from someone in Catherine in the Northern Territory.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
There's someone called Gobber.
Yeah.
I should read a Specky McGee book.
I used to have them somewhere. Not here.
Can you call them Bombay Bullet anymore?
No.
I don't think you can.
I don't think so. Because he's an Indian kid, right?
That's his name is Sanjay Sharma.
I mean, that's J.K. Rowling level naming people, right? Sanjay Sharma.
Hey, he's really good.
What was the Italian kid's name? His was pretty bad too, I think.
There's Maria Testi, who's named Gladiator.
Testi? No, he had a mate who was like a short Italian.
I'm looking. A short Italian. I don't know.
I just had a memory of him being really Italian. No, they called him the Italian Stallion in the books.
Not what I can see on the Wikipedia page.
Well, that's a shame. Anyway, that's enough Specky McGee and panic attacks. We'll see you after the last round of the year. If your team has a chance of winning this week, good luck. If they are in the bottom 9, go to the pub instead.
It's the worst outro we've ever done. Goodbye, everyone.